There is an AI divide. We need to address that urgently.
The Luddites come to mind.
I think we should not be scared of this new technology. Yes, and I think this is an important question for India, for Africa, for Latin America and the Caribbean, other parts of Asia.
This is a big moment for India, for the world, and for the United Nations. There's so much concern about AI, but tell us about the fact that this panel of 40 great scientists who are coming up with a report which will be placed before 193 countries. And of course, there will be an opportunity to ensure that there is less inequality.
Indeed, it's a big moment for India. India is hosting the first AI summit in the developing world. It's a big moment for the UN because we are now moving from principles to action. Action on science. You mentioned the International Independent Scientific Panel of 40 experts from all across the globe coming together to provide regular assessments of what's the pace and direction of this technology, what are its implications, the opportunities and the risks. So all of us, every country, every community can be informed and can take decisions on the basis of evidence. Likewise, we've decided to set up a regular global dialogue on the governance of AI at the United Nations. All 193 countries will have a seat at the table. They'll be able to share best practices, lessons learned with each other, and ground the regulation, the governance of AI in our shared norms, including the UN Charter. And the third pillar of the progress and part of the excitement is the effort on AI capacity building. There is an AI divide. We need to address that urgently through investments in compute, in data sets, in talent, in the infrastructure, including energy that's needed for AI. And the Secretary General has proposed a global fund on AI of $3 billion for urgent investments in the 80-90 countries that are most at risk of getting left behind. He's also proposed a network of centers from around the world working together to pool resources to build AI capacity. And we are very pleased that 15 member states of the UN have already stepped forward and offered centers that are coming together to collaborate on AI capacity building.
Yes, of course. But AI, there's always been tensions about new technologies. The Luddites come to mind from the 1850s. Then you had computers and AI and all kinds of things. Now, is AI very different from earlier technologies like the internet, like the computer, anything, like industrialization, like steam, all of that? Is it very different? And therefore, is it more beneficial and equally dangerous?
I think we should not be scared of this new technology. So you remember in the 19th century, you mentioned the Luddites, but there was also cinematography, the Lumiere brothers, the first moving images of a train. And some people ran out of the theater thinking that the train was going to hit them. So there's always this initial reaction, fear, uncertainty when powerful new technologies come in, whether it's steam, electricity, and then later computers. So something similar is happening with AI. But on balance, there are a lot more opportunities than there are risks. So opportunities for sustainable development, for accelerating social and economic progress, provided we invest in the right use cases, in talent, in the infrastructure that is needed for everyone to be able to use AI. So I would temper our enthusiasm by some concern for the risks and challenges, exclusion, bias, concentration of economic power and wealth in a few hands, but not lose sight of these opportunities for accelerating scientific discovery, increasing agricultural productivity, boosting economic growth, deepening financial inclusion. And India is a great laboratory for some of these use cases that can scale societally. And these experiments that India is embarking on with artificial intelligence would be watched very carefully in the rest of the world.
You spoke about India, but there are different Indias, public sector, private sector. A lot of Indians are working with Google, as you know, in Bangalore. And they've done a lot of work with Gemini Now tell us, what does this mean for India? Because you've seen the first world, third world divide on other issues like digitalization and so on. Now that has to be avoided. And yet India has to have a place in the world.
Yes, and I think this is an important question for India, for Africa, for Latin America and the Caribbean, other parts of Asia that are trying to accelerate economic and social progress under difficult circumstances. So AI is an opportunity there, and I think building on the trust that's already there among the public on digital and emerging technologies, the experience with digital public infrastructure, Aadhaar, UPI, the data exchange layer, AI can be deployed at scale across the society to address some of these challenges of social and economic progress. The private sector will have an important role to play. AI's development is diverse. You cannot anticipate all the use cases that AI will have as a general purpose technology, just as you couldn't anticipate when electricity first came how many users it'll be put to. So we are in a similar situation, and the private sector will help us build those use cases. And what we need to do as policymakers, as leaders, is to provide the governance frameworks, like on data protection, on regulating some of the high impact AI use cases so that the risks are managed. So that governance framework, but also the right policy frameworks for the private sector to participate, to access data sets, and then also providing some of the enablers. For example, compute is a scarce resource. Africa, India, other parts of the global south. So how can government facilitate access to some of the infrastructure that these startups, these private companies need to develop AI and accelerate social and economic progress?
Yes, and finally, the reason why we are all here, the AI Summit. Now tell me, what is your expectations of the summit and what you think will be the forward movement, not just for India, but also for the South and the world?
We are very excited about the summit. Secretary General Antonio Guterres will be attending the leaders' meeting chaired by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and President Macron of France, who was the previous host of the summit. Our expectation at the UN is that this gathering will reinforce the momentum on multilateral action that we see at the UN across science policy and capacity, that it will build a bridge to the first global dialogue on AI governance in July at the UN in Geneva. Our expectation is also that the summit will focus attention on critical areas that need support so that we can use AI to have progress on the sustainable development goals, and also critical areas where governance is needed so that risks, including to children's well-being, for example, children's safety, are addressed.
That's a concern. A third of the people of the world are children.
Yes.
And they have to be protected.
Yes, absolutely. They are increasingly generating data which is being used by AI. They are interacting with AI tools much more than their teachers and parents in some cases. So we need to use wisdom to ensure that children are empowered, they're not disempowered by the use of AI, and that their well-being is not at the cost, it does not become collateral damage in this race to deploy technology.